Hi everyone, this is Atul Kumar and you are watching uxtrim. And in today's episode, we are going to learn about all the elements inside Figma interface. And recently launched Figma UI3, lot of placement of tools and options has been replaced to another location or regrouped or renamed. So we are going to cover all of them in this video. So to give you a very brief context, what we are going to cover. First, we are going to cover all these menus inside this menu bar. Now these menus are very much similar to what we get inside this Figma drop-down icon. But the only difference is operating system based options. Next, we will be discussing about all the file options. Then we'll discuss about this file tab, which consists of pages and layers. Then we'll discuss about assets, which consist of components, whether they are local or imported from libraries published outside this file. Then we'll be discussing our multiplayer tool, then our present and preview tool, share button options, our design panel, and prototype panel. Let's start with our file menu. So we get options like new window, new tab, open this file in browser, open file URL from clipboard, close windows, close tab, reopen. Then bottom 5 are similar to what we get inside our Figma icon. So we get this option to save this file as .fig. That means it downloads from Figma server and saves at .fig. Then we can save our version history, we can see version history, then export the selected items and then export selected frames to PDF. Alright, in edit, we have all these options such as undo, redo, cut, copy, paste, copy as, then paste, paste over selection, the paste to replace, duplicate, delete, find next, previous, and many other options such as pick color, select all with these properties, same fill, same stroke width, same effect, same text properties, and many other. And then in view, we have a lot of options such as whether we'll be able to see pixel grid, layout grid or not, ruler or not. So slices and things like that. Then in object, we have these many options such as frame selection. Now these are mainly related to one object, whether it's image, rectangle, shape or anything in this Figma file. Then related to text, related to arrangement, then vector operations, then plugins, widgets, windows and help. If we look at those menus inside this Figma dropdown, then we have option to create a new design file, new FigJam file, new slide deck, new file from sketch file, then option to place image, then bottom 5 which are same as our top file menu. We have option to save as local copy, save version history, show version history, and then export. So if I click on this, I'll be able to see that whatever auto saved versions are there, they will be visible on the right. If we look at our options, we have these options to copy the CSS of selected elements or copy the selected element as SVG or copy selected element as PNG. Now we have option to find next and previous. So let's click on this and see what happens. Now this activates this or search option over here. I'll take you through this option in a while. Then we have view options like pixel grid. If you zoom this canvas, you will see all these pixels, right? And if you want to hide these, you can simply uncheck and pixel grid will be hidden. Want to bring it back, just click it again. Once you check on this, everything will be visible. Now, right now, layout grids are not visible. Your ruler is visible. Your slices will be seen. Now slices come from here, like slice. So yes, you can show or hide those slices. Then comments. Then this is pretty cool view, like show outline. It will help you see your hidden layers and hidden elements. Then you have pixel preview. Now who are pixel perfectionist, they can get help from this pixel preview. It gives you rough idea that how your icon or any image is going to look in pixels, and how they're impacting its edges or borders. Then you have a lot of options like show UI, hide UI, multiplayer cursors, then panels, then zoom options, then frame options. You can select like next frame or previous frames. Then we can also look into these objects like frame selection, group selection, ungroup selection. So whenever you select one object, whether it's grouped or individual, you can make these type of changes. You can wrap the selection into new section. You can convert the selected elements into section, then convert the selected item into frame. These are mainly to do with the rectangle and frames, so you can do that. Then you can use mask, you can restore a default thumbnail, and you can do many things. Now these options are related to your components and instances. Now these options are related to the layer order or order of that object inside layers. Then these options related to transformation. Then you have Boolean operations like union of shape, subtraction, intersection, and exclusion. Then rasterization. You have option to show and hide selection, then collapse layers, and other options as well. Options to remove fill, remove a stroke, swap fill and stroke. Pretty cool stuff. Now these inside text menu, you have options related to text specifically, like this list format. Then you can create link. Then these are alignments, adjustments, cases like original case, uppercase, lowercase. Then text direction and spell check. In arrange, you have most of things related to object arrangement, whether you want them to align left or right, or you can tidy it up in a grid. You can make them pack horizontal or vertical. You can distribute evenly, and all these options are related to that. Now you can also access all these things from right hand side in here in these properties. So in vector, we have these options called join selection, smooth selection, and delete and heal selection. Now these work only in case of we are drawing. So such as if I delete this, okay, then I have all these selection. I can perform all these operations when I am in this vector state, right? Then next would be our plugins. Now these can be accessed from multiple places, but in menu, yes, you can access from here as well. Then widgets, then preferences. Now preferences are more to do with what you want with your file and how you want to operate, like snap to geometry, snap to objects, snap to pixel grid. You can rename duplicate layers, such it will give you like increasing numbers, and lot of options. You can change the theme of your file. I am using light, I can change it to dark, but let's continue with light theme. And preferences, then your color profile, RGB or PS3, then keyboard layout and nudge amount. Now nudge amount is bit important because this decides how much movement one element will make when you click one arrow key or when you click shift plus arrow key. So it will changes based on that nudge. And let's quickly see what keyboard layout is, and it is something like this. Right now I'm operating on Mac, so all these options are for Mac keyboard. Now this also consists of all those shortcuts which you can learn and make your life little faster, efficient and easier, and many shortcuts which you can learn and speed up your process. Let's close this. At last, we have our libraries. Now you can open these libraries from these three places. One from here, okay, and second from this option panel, and third from here, right? And at the last, we have our help and account section, where you have option of account setting, logout, and all these help sections like release notes, video tutorials, support forum, and keyboard shortcuts and help. On the top, we have action button or action options, which opens this action tool, and you can do a lot of stuff quickly based on what you want to do. Important options are collected over here in this action tool to make our life easier. So let's talk about these file options. So in here you can see version history. You can publish library, the local library which you will be creating within this file. Then you can export all those selected items on this canvas. You can see color profile. Now you can duplicate this file and create a copy of it. So you can rename this file when you click on here, or you can just simply double click here and rename this. And next you can move this file to another folder. Right now it's in draft. I can move it to any of my team folders. I can add this file to my favorites, which will be seen on the left hand side on my Figma homepage. And at last I can delete this file. So that's that. Now moving on to our file tab. So we have these pages. I have currently one page. I can increase number of pages inside my file, and I can have multiple screens on one page grouped inside one section, and then another group of screens on page 2, similarly on page 3, 4, 5, 6. Now on each page I'll be able to see all those sections, frames, screens, elements inside these layer panels. Currently we are not being able to see any of the layers because we do not have any. Let's quickly create one frame. So the frame is visible. I can create multiple frames, and once I create any shape inside these frames, I can see something like this. Now these are visible over here. I can create other shapes as well, such as, let's say I want a triangle pointing towards this, and I'll copy this same triangle pointing towards this. Alright, now you can see that all these shapes are in form of layers which are nested inside this Android large 2 frame, similar with these two elements which are nested inside Android large frame. Okay, so these are your layers. The more you group, the more nesting it will create. So if I group this, it created one group, and I can see these polygons and these shapes inside this group. If I create one more, then it nested again. Also, to give you one tip, if you are grouping these elements like this at this level, to make them smart animate, you'll have to keep these in similar group as well to make them work efficiently. Otherwise they will glitch. I'll group this once, and I'll rename this to 1, and I'll select this, and I'll group this again, and I'll rename this 2. And now these nesting are similar. My smart animate will work smoothly. Alright, so let's discuss about assets tab. In this tab, you are going to find local components and imported components from other systems, other published libraries. And to view that, whether you have added any library to this folder or not, you can simply go over here and check. Right now, it's a simple design system by Figma, which is added, where I can click and access to all different elements which Figma is providing. Right, and now these elements, this Figma design system is relatively new. It came with the newer update of Figma UI3, right? But initially we used to publish all our components in different libraries and access it from here, right? So I do not have any other library published in this ID, but let me show you in another one. So here we have libraries. Right now I have added this wireframe kit, which is published by one of my teams. And if I scroll here, I have lot of libraries published, and right now I'm using this, right? And when I go to assets, let me close this. So when I go to assets, I'll be able to see all these preloaded components which my team has created to create a simple wireframes. So if I remove this, I won't be able to see any component. But when I add this to my file, I'll be able to see all those components. So library is pretty helpful. If I get any update, if someone changes any element, any component in main file, I'll be seeing all those updates over here. I can update all those changes one by one, or I can update all at once. So let's utilize few of these components given by Figma. So I have this button. Let's place it here, and I'm gonna write it animate. Okay, I can change its variant as well. So these variants are made during creating these components, and I can switch these between different variation. Okay, and I'm going to copy this. You can also search for a specific element within this asset panel, and when you search, let's say accordion, you can get those accordion narrowed down or filter down over here. Moving on, let's move to our design panel. But first, let me quickly take you through these options. Now, this is multiplayer tool. Whenever multiple people, multiple users are working on it, you will be able to see all those list of people over here. You can spotlight yourself so that people can follow you, and you can take them through all screens one by one, and they will be able to see what you are presenting. And next we have our preview present tool and preview tool. So let's say if you select this and you present, it will open a new window where you have your device, selected device. Within that, you will be able to see your selected frame, and you will be able to interact if you have made prototype of these screens. But if you preview this, not present, it will open same screen up front, side by side, and you will be able to interact with it if you have created any prototype. Then we have share options. If you directly share from here, it will share the whole canvas, and you can simply copy link and share it on WhatsApp or Slack or anywhere you want. Or you can put email and send invite. You can assign their roles, that how much they can access, for example. So if I click on here, like I can change from view to edit, and the invited person will be able to make changes or just view the whole file. Alright, you can also copy dev mode link and share with your developers, or you can copy prototype link and share with your stakeholders or clients to see how it's working. Now this only works when you have created prototype. You can publish the whole file to community, or you can get an embed code which you can utilize on your portfolio website or any other portfolio site such as Behance or my portfolio site. Now let's talk about a design panel or design tab. All these sections inside design tab are dynamic based on whatever tool you will select here at the bottom. These will change. To explore more, I think we are going to explore these tools as well. And along with that, we'll be discussing what all properties you'll be getting with each tool in this design tab. So first we have our move tool. If you do not have selected anything, your design tab looks something like this. Now it tells you about everything within this file, like local variables, local styles. Now we do not have any local style or variables saved within this file. That's why we are not seeing any, but we'll be adding it soon. Let's talk about our move tools, such as we have move, we have hand tool and scale tool. What they do, if you select move tool and if you want to move any object, any element in this canvas, you'll be able to do that. So you can select any element, you can click and drag any element inside frame, outside frame, and you can resize it. And if you press shift, it will resize proportionally. Going back, if you use hand tool, click and grab your canvas and move around. So it helps you pan the whole canvas. Now you can simply do this on Mac using trackpad with 2 fingers and you'll be able to do the same. Then next we have scale tool. Now what it does, if you want to increase its size, but not just this frame, but everything inside this frame, then scale tool helps you increase every element proportionally, such as this. And right now its scale is at 2.32x. Let's make it 2x. And it looks something like this. Everything like this text size, this button size, this ellipse and this polygon, everything has been increased proportionally. Let's undo these and talk about frames. So when you click on this frame, you get few predefined frame resolutions, such as Android large, Android small, iPhone screen sizes, then tablet screen sizes, desktop screen sizes, and you can choose whatever you want to create your design. Now once you create this frame, this is a custom frame which I just created, you get all these options of changing these frames to different size. So I'm selecting this Android large again. I can mark this frame as dev ready, but let's say we will not do that because there is no design in it. We can create this frame as a component. We can use mask. Moving down, we have our position properties. Then we have our layout properties. We can change this simple layout to auto layout by clicking this icon. We can link its proportion constraints. So if I link these, its size will increase proportionally, something like this. Now this clip content, so you select any artboard, and if it has certain content, you will see that it's clipped and you will not be able to see anything outside your frame border. But if you uncheck this, you'll be able to see all those hidden elements as well. Right, then we have appearance. So now what appearance does, it gives you the opacity level of your frame or any element inside Figma. You can give it a border radius, and you can change its border radius individually as well. Okay, now these are 3 icons of applying variables. Then you can hide this or make it visible. Now this also applies on left hand side in layers panel as well. Now you can apply a blend mode. This blend option are pretty much similar to what we do in our Photoshop. So you can take good advantage of these options as well. So let's close this. Now talking about fill. So we have a white frame. I can fill it with any color I want, or I can fill it with a gradient, or I can fill it with any image, right? So let's take this example, or I can fill it with any video. So this account is not paid, that's why I won't be able to do it on this account, but on paid account I'll be able to do that pretty well. So I go here, go to videos, and I'll be able to choose any video and I'll be able to play it. In movies, Okay, I'm not getting any. I mean, you will be able to do that. You can also define how it will going to cover this rectangle. Same with your images. Let's see. So in this image, let's go back here, select any image, and now we can change its exposure, contrast, then saturation, then color temperature, then tint and highlights and shadows. So these are also similar to what we do in Photoshop, and you can choose how these images will fill your rectangle or frame. So it's right now it's at fill state. It can be at fit state where whole image will be visible. I can fill by cropping it whatever portion I want, something like this, or I can move it on left through this crop, or I can use tile. We generally use this fill to make it look good. What else I can do? Let's say I remove this. I filled with certain color, deep red, and I can add this as my collection or as a style. So let's name it deep red and create this style. Okay, and if I want, I can detach it and then re-edit it again. But we already have one style saved in our library. So when we go over here, we'll be able to see a local library and I'll be able to apply it. Okay, let's give this a combined border radius of 40 pixels. How much do we have? 48. So let's copy Android large 2 attributes to frame 1 attribute. And now I'm going to choose style to deep red. What else these options are providing us? So we can add stroke. Again, we can change its stroke width to 8. I can choose to make it one side, like only on top or only on bottom or all side. I can change it from solid to a dash where I can change its value. I can decide on how its end will look. Right now it's inside. If I move it to outside, it will look something like this, and in center it looks something like this. And if I reduce dash value, it is something like that. I can increase its gap value, and yeah, then we have mitering format, how it's going to join. Now this will not be visible here, but let's say if we have 0 corner radius, we have this rectangular mitering, we can make it bevel or we can make it round. Now this is very much helpful when we are dealing with other shapes such as star tool. So let's quickly grab star tool, place it here, and let's give it a stroke width on outside with 8 pixel, and then we change its mitering to something like this. Now if you change it, its appearance will change, and I can make this white, and inside I'm going to make white as well, or let's say little darker. Moving on, this frame has multiple colors, so this another section will appear which is known as selected colors, and this whole frame has these many colors. You can change these from here as well. Then we have our layout grids, which we can add, and right now it's 8 pixel grid. Right, I can change it from here, like grid to columns to rows, and change them as per our requirement. So let's remove these for now. And if I want to export, I can export this whole frame as a PNG, JPG, SVG or PDF. I can see its preview, how it's looking, and I can increase its export size as well. So I can export in 1x, 2x, 3x, 4x and so on. And I can also add few suffix or color profile while exporting. All right. Now, if you look at this color style, now because I added deep red to my local style, now it's visible on my page as well. Moving on, we have our section tool. So what it does, let's say I have all these frames or screens and I want to group them, then I'll use this section and I can give it any sort of background color to separate. And let's say for one flow, we have this section 1. I can rename it as onboarding flow. Right, I can have few other sections such as home page states, I can have contact page states, I can have different flows or different groups within one page to keep our file organized. I can select and export the whole section as well, or I can simply mark this as dev ready and developers will be able to follow these sections for newer developments. Right, and then we have slice tool. Now slice tool doesn't group your screens but can take screenshots and export them. So if let's say I want to export just this part and share with my stakeholders, I can simply export that particular slice and share with my respective stakeholders. And these slices are also used for smaller visual groups as what they are representing. And let's move on to our next tool, which are shape tools. So we have rectangle. So simple rectangle or rectangle, when we press shift, it gives us a square. Then we have our line tool. So again, we can go in any direction, but when we press shift, it gives you a straight line, vertical or horizontal, or at 45 degrees. Then we have arrow tool. It works similar as line, but with an arrow at its tip. You can convert this line into arrow as well with this option, and you can change its header point from left to right or right to left. And you can also add different kind of tips at each end. So this is just a shortcut which makes our life little easier. Now another tool is our ellipse tool. So we can have an oval shape or we can have circle by pressing shift. And then we have polygon tool, which starts with a triangle. That means it has 3 sides. I can increase its sides and convert this from a triangle to quadrilateral or pentagon, hexagon, heptagon, everything. I can increase its border radius and make it smoother and rounded. I can apply strokes and effects to these, like drop shadow. So I can increase its blur and Y value, and I can also change its color of drop shadow. I can remove, let's say, the stroke width or change its color as well. And let's change this to white, and this looks something like this. Let me make it a hexagon. Now let's look at other things what we can do. So this is drop shadow. We can convert this into inner shadow. Now it looks like something, carved out inside this canvas. we can change this to layer blur. That means the whole vector is going to be blurred. It can be image as well, so you can apply the same effect on an image or vector or like whole frame. And you can make background blur as well. So this shape do not have any background, but let's say you are moving it over, nothing is visible. Just wait a second, you reduce its fill, then you will be able to see what's at the background. So you will be able to see something like this, that your background is frosty because of white. You can change this to black as well, and still your background will look blurred. And if you move on to these screens, it looks something like this. All right, let's roll back to our drop shadow, but our fill changed. Let's give this fill white. Now star tool, it's also pretty good. You can create simple stars with 5 edges. You can make it 4 or 3, and you can increase it to 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever you want. And if you decrease this angle, or sorry, decrease this angle, it will become more pointy. If you increase this angle, it will become like a coupon code sort of vector. You can give roundness to the corners and make them look something like this as well. Other options are pretty much similar to other shapes or frame tool. And then we have place image. So I can place any image or video. So let's select this image and simply click here, and that image will be loaded. You can resize it and see however you see fit. Moving on to our next tool, we have pen tool. Now this is the most important tool inside Figma. You can create anything with pen tool. So if you want to create any icon, you will be able to do that. Any triangle from here, any shape we want, right? And I can fill its stroke width, remove this, and create any desired shape we want. Delete these. Now once you have this pen tool, you have all these options to increase its width. You can add headers to these lines. You can increase or decrease, you can change its color. You can increase and decrease its fill or stroke. Now one pretty cool stuff with pen tool. So let's say I want to join 2 screens with an arrow. So I can do these with the help of shift tool. Let's make it black. I want to change its arrowhead, something like this. And if I double click on it, I'll get a vector form. I'll select these 2 anchor points and I can change its corner radius. Cool. Now moving on to pencil tool. We have a simple pencil tool and we can create any shape we want, like this spiral, or we can press shift and create vertical or horizontal straight lines. I can create this sort of organic shape as well. So I'll click this. It's not pretty good with the trackpad, giving me worse experience drawing it with trackpad. Okay, that's cool. Now let's try our text tool. So in here, if you press once, you will be able to write any word you want, and you can increase its size, but as you can see, it's not changing its font size. If you have to change its font size, then you have to select here, right? Right now it's taking a body base already from a predefined template from Simple Design System. But let's break this variable from here. It's not broken yet. Let's break more, and here. So now this font is Inter. I can change its font to any other. So let's go with Fanwood text. Nope. Any other. Let's say Crimson Pro. Right, and I want to change its weight to semi-bold and its size to more, let's say 48. Now this is not changing based on this its box, but based on this typography over here, I can change its alignment, like this is center aligned, left aligned, or right aligned. Or I can also choose vertical alignments, so top, middle, or bottom, right? And if I change its size, it will adapt accordingly. But if I want to not respond to this whole box, I can simply select this. That means right now it's just auto height. Now these are fixed sizes, and this is auto width. That means it will hug itself from both sides. Moving on, I can change its color to any color. I can give stroke width to this text. I can add any shadow or any effect to this text, right? And it will work the similar way a shape does. Next, we'll be looking at our comment tool. So I already had a comment right in another page, and I want to add another. So this is another comment. I can tag someone. So I have a lot of people whom I can tag. So let's say I tagged Sandeep, and and he'll be notified that I have tagged him with certain things. Okay, right now I haven't shared this file with Sandeep, so he won't be able to view this comment. So I can post and share this comment with him, but right now I'm canceling it. And okay, now we have action tool. Now this tool have a lot of things. This is pretty new to Figma UI3, and this is giving us all those important options at one place, and this collection will make our life faster. Unchecking multiple cursor tool, or hiding UI, or minimizing UI, or snap to pixel grid, show ruler, and these keyboard shortcuts, if you don't remember that what is done with which. With time, you will be able to remember all those things. And account settings at the bottom, and find and replace. So again, you can do it from here as well, and you can do it from here as well. And you can access assets, which you can do pretty much same from here. And plugin and widgets, again, pretty much same, which we can do it from here or from the top. So let's run these plugins. Let's say I run this feather icons. That means I'll be able to grab any icon and import it just by clicking on it. So different plugins behave different way. You have to explore all these plugins and make good use of them. Alright, moving on to next, we have our dev mode. So we are not going to cover dev mode in this video, but in my upcoming videos, I'll be doing that. And also because I do not have this Figma UI3 account paid, but I can show it on my Figma UI2 account and what all you will be getting. Let's keep this dev mode for another video. And what else is left? Now let's explore a bit of prototype. So let's clear our canvas first, right? Ungroup this, and I want to create some animation over here as well. Okay, so when we go to prototype tab, we see that what device is selected. So right now it's Android large, and I use the same device dimension in my frame as well. So prototype will be much easier, and I can change the model as well, like silver and gray. So this comes when I do not have anything selected. But let's say if I select this, I'll be able to see to add a flow starting point. So I'm adding it here on this particular frame, and I can write description about it. Then I can add interaction. So for example, right now this whole frame is selected, so I can create interactions based on tap. So if someone taps on anywhere on this frame, it will perform certain actions. Right now it's none. So on tap, I can navigate to another frame or another screen, or I can get all these operations done, right? But let's say I want to create not on tap but after delay. So it after delay works only on frames, and it gives you a time that after how much delay certain animation will perform or certain action will be taken. So it's pretty useful. But let's say I want to do this with help of this button like animate. So I'm removing this, and I'm taking this plus icon and drag it to next page. This is giving me all those triggers and what to do. So right now destination is this Android large 2, action is navigate, and trigger is tap. Okay, I can do after delay as well. This is something new which I just noticed. It's going to help us a lot. Alright, so let's animate. Now this is state if I want to reset scroll position or not, or reset component state or not. But we'll explore these in another video. But let's just quickly do a smart animate, and this smart animate will take duration of 300 milliseconds. I can use this curve or gentle, and I'll do same with this button but back to first. And when I play this in preview, this looks something like this, and I want to animate this, and it animates something like this. So its initial state smart animated to our final state, right? As you can see, we have our corners different. That's why it's animating between these two. So let's reset its corner to 0 pixel, and we won't be able to see this corner fluctuating. We can do similar thing with these two frames. So I'm going to prototype panel, and I'm starting this flow. Now I will be animating this on frame level with delay, and what it's gonna do is, so I'm gonna drag here, and I'm giving it a delay of 800 milliseconds, and smart animate with gentle curve again with 800 milliseconds, and I'm going to do that back to my previous frame, and I'm giving it a delay of 800 milliseconds and same. And we have a smart animate active, right? And when I prototype this, it changes in this manner. It's pretty cool. And I am not doing anything, it is just taking its delay times and animating it for me. All right, now there are a few other options like scroll behavior, and these work very well in our carousels or overflow elements, which we hide like these. So if, let's say, we have this element and I want to make it scroll left and right, I can simply convert this into frame and then reduce its whole width and clip this content, then go to prototype, and then I can set this overflow scrolling to horizontal, and then I'll be able to move this inside this frame. So let's play this, and I'll be able to see, I'll be able to see the whole scroll because I just created a horizontal scroll. Okay, so that's two. And show prototype settings. Okay, cool. I think that's all. So yeah, that's it for this video. I hope you liked it. If you like this video, please like, share and subscribe. I post videos weekly. Stay tuned for next video. Till then, bye bye.